All right, we're going to talk about riding now with Nathan. We were talking earlier, you mentioned about strategy when you used to ride. What did I ask you? I asked you something about consistency when you ride. Like, how did you achieve that?
In contest or just
Yeah,
in general riding with
I
jam
mean,
in
when you
front?
used to do the X Trials circuit, like,
All right. Well,
tell me a little bit about your practice preparation and stuff.
well, a lot of it was obviously mental, but flatland is my hand-eye coordination, right?
Yeah.
You can also work a little bit of mathematics into it and your state of being in a certain moment. I always knew that you're not the same person when you're at a contest than when you're by yourself behind a building and nobody's watching. It changes. The atmosphere is different. There's a different energy. There's different pressures and stresses. But my attitude or my way of preparing for a contest was always to have
Strategy.
more options. Like if Marty, for example, would be able to freestyle because he had thousands of tricks, right? So it was a lot easier for him to cope with maybe screwing up the first run. But I always figured that I worked in that if you weren't able to do something, a certain trick that you've been practicing for a long time, a hard trick at that moment, then you should have another run or another backup, something to back up. Obviously, it depends on the level of riding that's happening, and
On the surface.
Depends on yourself.
Do you used to practice on different surfaces or
No,
similar?
I wasn't like that. I just thought that you have to.
Because you were quite adaptable, like.
It was what I tried to be. I mean, there's certain surfaces that I rode on better than others, and others vice versa. But for me, it was always just.
Like marble, you're really good on marble, right?
I like marble.
Do you think that's because of Spain?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it just the way
works for your riding.
Resistance. It's smooth and you can flow. And,
that's the same for me, yeah.
Yeah. So it was. I don't know. The preparation for contest was just looking at knowing that you're not going to be the same person and preparing for maybe a little bit of tension and a little bit of nervousness, and figuring out how to cope with it physically when your mind might not be able to. That's something that you had to work into, not a training routine, because I mean I didn't like training just for contests. I liked having fun, and I didn't have fun when I was just training for contests. But if it was an important part of being a professional flatlander was training, keep your sponsors happy and be able to travel and make money. I mean, there's obviously a business side to it, which sucks, but there is.
You did it really well. For how long did you compete for? At the top level?
98 to 205, I guess. 98 to 206.
And in that time, it was a comfortable living, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I mean, I never owned anything expensive really, and I think I
lived the life.
Invested my money that I made in fun and in the people who I was with and the places that I got to go. I think that was maybe the most valuable investment I've ever made.
Was that hard to let that sort of competitive lifestyle go? Like not competing now? Was it hard today? You're judging feasts. Is that hard to sit there and watch?
No, it was kind of comforting because
you knew you could come back.
Yeah. No, it was more like I didn't have that stress. There wasn't that pressure to the days before or the weeks before.
You never looked that stressed in contests though, Nathan. I always used to think you were just a bastard, really. There's no other word for it.
There was always that little bug, that you didn't know how.
Some people thrive. Put it this way, I think some people thrive on it, like Matthias thrives on it.
Yeah,
I think you were some might say Matthias is the new Nathan Penonzek. What do you think about that?
No, it's not. Matthias is
There's a lot of similarities, like Urban Games, 3 shots and then boom, you do a run. Matthias is kind of the same thing.
Well,
I could see Matthias doing that.
I like his fluidity. If I'll speak personally about him, because I wouldn't want to.
I'm not talking about the ride now. I'm just talking about the actual, just the way you deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, his outlook on it, I can see that is obviously he's very competitive, but he knows that having fun will help him control maybe his nerves or control. And at that age, it's a lot easier to do because your mind like it or not, doesn't think as much. But people say the more experience you have, the easier it is to control. But I don't know. I think the younger you are, the easier it is. The less you have to think about, right?
Yeah.
Less responsibility
Yeah.
and pressure there is. But
Yeah.
he knows that having fun is.
He kind of travels the world like you do.
But what's that?
He kind of travels the world like you do, really. Pretty similar. He's pretty similar. I mean, he's got a home base in Paris, but
Right. Yeah.
much the same. He's on the road all year round, really.
All year round, of course. Yeah, because he's got contests to go to, shows to do, and places to go.
Would you ever see yourself coming back on the contest scene? What would make you come back? Phil?
Maybe if. Oh yeah,
Phil's watching this, so be nice, Nathan. Be nice.
Phil came back, I'd make him come back.
Really?
But because that would be, I found that in the last years that I was competing, there was a lot of the fun was coming out of it for me. And,
Yeah.
and like you're just talking about Matthias, you can see he has fun when he's at a contest.
Yeah.
He enjoys being around all the people. Not that I didn't enjoy being
It's a good advert for Flatland, I think.
But you know that when you're having fun, the pressure is alleviated. So it's the attitude you have to do well. I think personally is the one that be more easygoing about. Be less hard on yourself too, because if you don't do well that certain day for whatever reasons, the ground or.
Did you ever do bad though? Seriously, hang on a minute.
I did do bad. But
Really?
Yeah, I did bad, and there was times.
Did you ever not make the cut anywhere?
Yeah, there was times where I didn't make the cut, but
Maybe one time, I think. I can remember.
a couple
Yeah.
times.
St. Petersburg, maybe?
Or
was
I
it?
qualified and really sucked in finals. That happened all the time because of the pressure, and maybe I wasn't having fun.
Yeah. Would you say you were a natural rider? Or you've just got to a point where
I worked so much at it when I was about 15,
Yeah.
16. I spent so much time on my bike when I was 15, 16.
you had a Jason Brown, Jamie McIntosh, pretty
Right.
good scene, right?
I had the influence of those riders that they guided me, and they also they advised me they directed me on what I should be practicing, which is really important when you're a young kid. That you see what is going on in the pro scene as an up and comer, and that you understand that there's certain things you don't need to waste your time on, right? And you look at the kids nowadays; they don't learn what we learned in the late 90s, or what you learned back when you started. When did you start?
Too long ago. Let's not talk about
I
that.
was going to say 80s. I don't know.
26 years ago.
26 years ago. But,
I'm 36 now. Started when I was 10.
right. See, you started earlier than me. For me, it was, I put so much time into it, I don't think it came necessarily naturally. It just was something that...
Do you think you got to a point, like, I always remember that time in Long Beach where you had like 20 PSI in your tyre, it was crazy. You said you hadn't pumped your tyres up in 4 months and you just, was it that marina parking lot?
I never went through that stage.
And you just pulled everything and you just started laughing, you just like, I haven't rode in 4 months.
When was that? Oh, that was when I came off the sailboat.
Yeah, the sailboat story.
Yeah.
You sailed from Vancouver to
No,
San Diego.
From San Francisco down to San Diego.
But you were up in Vancouver first.
Yeah, and then I had my bike on board, and the first time I brought it
With
out,
loads of red wine.
well, gotta keep the captain happy. Yeah,
Was there a supply of wine and fish? That's what I remember.
that's right. It was a good
Bare essentials.
bare essentials. But yeah, that was a good trip, and I remember that. I was down with Chad's Jam.
Yeah,
Chad Johnson.
that was an awesome time.
That was good. Yeah.
So, what are your plans for this year, Nathan? Is there such a thing with your life, or
Plans for this year. Okay, we're in Montpellier. Physical plans or physically go for
like? I mean, you're going to New York afterwards, and then maybe talk a little bit about that. What you're going to do, if you can.
Okay, so I'm going from Montpellier to Madrid, spend a few days in Madrid, and then fly to New York, stay there for just under a week, and then head to Los Angeles to finish up my parts, my first line of parts that I'm going to do. And I'd like to get back to Vancouver before too long in June, and the sun finally starts coming out, and people have smiles on their faces. to enjoy a little bit of the west coast of Canada and my family, and
Yeah.
be back there